few things here this morning. Now, Doc, let's look beyond 2024. What do you think the future holds for the CPP, especially if the party does not perform well in the 2024 elections? Do you see a long-term roadmap for rebuilding the party?
You see, if you were a lawyer, you would rather have used the language in the unlikely event that the party does not perform well.
Shall I rephrase? In the unlikely event
Very good.
that the CPP does not perform well, what is the long-term roadmap looking like?
Yes, now I agree with you.
Right.
So I know we are going to win, but if, as I said, in the unlikely event that we don't perform well, I believe that we would have to start reorganization as early as possible. Let's say by January, we have to start the reorganization of the party, because since 92, we have not performed well. We always know where our faults are coming from. Nobody needs to tell us. The first time we tried to join in an alliance with the MPP. When that failed, they quickly jettisoned us, the so-called Great Alliance. They quickly threw us out. And since then, we have learned our lesson. And then another time, Pakwesi Nduom's time during the runoff, we gave our support to the NDC. After that, we didn't see the rise of the party. The thing that I believe has worked for us and who should guide us is the fact that when we tried putting there this man, Green Street, this is a man who doesn't understand any Ghanaian language. And I'm borrowing from the famous Professor Senna, former head of department, sociology department, University of Ghana, a very famous academician. He said that 80% of all communication in Ghana is in the Twi language. And in less than 100 years, the entire West Africa will be speaking Twi. This man is coming from Volta region, but he did an excellent academic work. So I'm telling you that if you have a party in Ghana, the chairman, general secretary, presidential candidates, these three cannot speak the Twi language, I can assure you, your party will not fly. You see, when CPP had Akomfra as general secretary, and then Samia as chairman or chairperson, Samia, cannot speak any Ghanaian language, Akomfra only English and Ga. The party was not working until in a short interregnum, when it was given to Kabila as acting general secretary, because of his expert efficiency over the Twi language. Every morning, Kabila was on every station. But you see, if you're like Akomfra or Samia, only the restricted English
speaking
platforms will be calling you. And the people going to vote, Professor Sana tells us that 80% of them know English. And we know there's percentage of Ghanaians who like English. With us, the Twi-speaking people in Kumasi, even if the person is a professor of English, he wants you to address him in Twi. So the party wasn't flying. Then you go and put there 2 occasions, Green Street, who cannot speak the Twi language or any language at all, which is a Ghanaian language. So it became a big disincentive. Now, we have learned a lesson. When we are putting anybody there, let the person be a Twi-speaking person.
They don't have to be from...
Not necessarily Anakan,
okay.
A Twi-speaking person, like the way Mahama is speaking Twi.
Right.
He's a Gonja, but he speaks Twi with an expert efficiency. So he's there. And Baumia too is trying. He's trying because he knows what I'm talking about.
So even when he's struggling, he wants to communicate.
He's understood.
Yes.
He like speaking broken English.
Right.
You'll be understood by the Queen or King Charles. You'll be understood. And that is what we must attempt to do. The more important one becomes the fact that how come that Dr. Pakwesi Nduom was able to push the election to a runoff. You do all the calculations and you will see that because he hailed from the southwestern part of the country, every party in the world needs to create a base. If you don't have a base, you can't contest an election. The other time I appeared on one of the TV stations with 2 or 3 of those who are going to become independent candidates. And I made them to know that they were talking, I'll win. And I asked them the question, where is your base in the country? Maybe you are an Ashanti, born and bred in Accra, and Ashantis don't know you. No, in politics, it's a big factor. It's but even in your forms, even though we say there must be no party formed on tribal lines, the very presidential forms you fill, they ask you where you come from, which region, and where your mother comes from, where your father comes, before academic things. So it means that at the back of everybody, we want to know whether you are a true Ghanaian. And if you are a true Ghanaian, for politics, you must also have a base. Without a base, you can never fly. Without a base, you can never. Do you know where Chiabosum's vote came from in 2020? You know, he started at one place, used his Fire TV to do documentaries on Nkrumah. And because in 2020, just as before, we didn't have a strong Nkrumahist party, those sympathetic to Kwame Nkrumah, largely coming from southwestern Ghana, gave him votes. Then he too, coming from Kumasi, Diase, he's from my father's family, also gave him votes. So Ashanti and Western, at least, no matter how humble the votes were, he was third. So this time CPP must learn that it will not, as when I was campaigning, they told me that we know Frimpong in the party more than you. And I also told them that yes, because he has been your chairman for 4 years. So definitely you will know her more than me. At least she went around to campaign before she was voted as a chairman. So you know her more than me. I'm also telling you that Ghanaians know me more than her. And the December 7 election is not a CPP election.
That's
it's
right.
a Ghanaian election, a national election. So I'm using this as a base to say that the next time, come also. See, first one, I say, put there somebody who understands the Twi language. Well, two, somebody who comes from a certain base, not only Western region. If you put there a candidate from Volta region, the person is going to disturb NDC a lot. And you should know the reason. When you do anthropology and sociology, you will know that the Ewes and the Nzemes are two people in Ghana who always want their own first before others. And no man listening to me knows what I'm saying. So the moment, let's say, you have Mr. Mahama as the NDC presidential candidate.
Right.
And he knows that Volta region is the base of the NDC. And you have a CPP presidential candidate coming from Volta region. It is going to disturb Mahama because in the case of Mahama, it is their tradition. That is why they are going to be sympathetic to him. In the case of that person, if he's called Dr. Mega, this one is our own blood. So the man is going to split the votes there.
So does that then become, with this scenario that you're painting, it will become a party, a well-established party versus a personality? And that will be the two elements in the boxing ring. So the
sentimentality will come in. Sentimental, the passion. So now you are going to, so where you will succeed more is that there's no way 100% votarians will vote for NDC. At least at most you get, let's say, 80%.
Right.
That 20%, that is either indecisive or would have otherwise voted for MPP or any of the smaller parties. This time we have our son. So the 20% would go to him. Or at least 15% out of the 20 will go to him. Then come to the 80%. Some people will say, but since Rollins' time, nobody has ever considered we Votarians being the head leadership, or coming to the leadership of the NDC. Always you go to certain places, and then after that, the person becomes our leader. Let us try our own. So out of the 80, which should have stood immaculate for the NDC, you begin to pinch in holes. So I'm saying that in politics, you silently, because when you say it aloud, it's like you are doing tribalism. But we have to say it aloud here that a lot of mathematics goes into politics. They said, hey, let's bring in somebody who comes from a certain area where he's easily accepted. And especially, and I mentioned in Zema and Ewe because by way of sociology, I know that those people, sentimentally, they choose their own first before they go outside. So, Doc, you say
it would be naive of us not to actually avert our minds to the science behind why we actually pick who we want to pick.
That is a mistake. Like, for example, trying to market NDC or CPP in the Ashanti region. When Ashantis know by history that the MPP tradition was founded at Menchia. It was founded at Menchia. So when you are campaigning there on the ticket of the NDC, it becomes difficult. And then it becomes the pill becomes less bitter to swallow for Ashantis when they discover that for the first time, the NDC presidential candidate is an Ashanti man.
You think that would cause some upset in the
Certainly,
numbers?
because human beings, our minds are like the clock. They take so at a certain point, people will begin to say, "Ya twa men MPP said dear ni yenye film. Nda dear yensu yenye yenua. Inti so yen this yo ye CPP o mumi yensu." And I'm not saying 100% of the people will agree with him, but at least the situation and the condition will be far better than previously. And the same way, when you look at Western region, as I sit here, you know, I don't know myself. People tell me, whenever I dress like the way I'm dressing before you, they say, "Hey, what's a Kwame Nkrumah power?" When in fact, I look like my father, and my father was like an Nkrumah twin brother. Too much, even though he was an Ashanti man. He so much resembled Nkrumah that people could just come to the house and say, "Hey, Papa, now the Unyanu Kwame Nkrumah na." And from my father's blood, accidentally, I have come to look like him. And then this one, not accidentally, luckily, I come from Nkrumah's district. You understand? So when you factor all this, and then also, I'm educated enough because with the CPP tradition, the one who founded our party was Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, followed by a Dr. Hila Liman.
Right.
And then we had Professor or Dr. Hagan, then Dr. Pakwesi Indum, then a lawyer, Agude, then a lawyer, Greenstreet. So for us, when it comes to the scholarship, you know, you must be on top because that was the foundation. That was where our party was groomed. And I have got that one too.
And Doc, you are certainly a walking encyclopedia. When it comes to the history, you're always giving us the much needed education. In fact, today we've learned a lot. I've learned a lot.
And then last one I have to have before your time.
Yes.
Is the fact that I also sit here as a 7-day Adventist. And we also like our own because we are voting on Saturday, and SDA people don't like that. So when they get a presidential candidate who will come and change the law for them, they will be happy. So I know that CPP lost a lot this time. But as I'm saying, I'm going to give my strength and my cooperation, my time and my prayer to Nana Anokye Frimpong so that there will be a big change in 2024 come December 7.
Absolutely. And Doc, thank you so much for your time this morning, for giving us some much needed education. We're always learning a lot whenever we listen to you. Dr. Yao Anokye Frimpong is a lawyer, historian, leading member of the CPP. It's been wonderful chatting with you this morning. Have a wonderful Wednesday.
I thank you, madam.
Thank you.